vorgegeben. Das wird sicherlich auch die einen oder anderen noch betreffen, die ebenfalls große Zielsetzungen haben, die da ein wenig in die viel zitierte Suppe spucken wollen. Und allen voran sicherlich auch die Mannschaft aus dem Hause Bentley, nicht nur durch die Pole, sondern unter anderem vielleicht auch durch das zweite Auto, das ja noch da mit dabei ist, das hier in der dritten Startreihe steht mit Fabian Hambrecht und Clemens Schmid als Sechstplatzierte in diesem Durchgang, in diesem Qualifying und dafür in der Startaufstellung. Daneben der Nissan Nismo GT3, das Auto, das von MRS GT Racing eingesetzt wird und mit Dominik Jöst den Startfahrer sieht. Sicherlich eine Überraschung, über die wir vielleicht auch noch ein paar Worte dann zu hören bekommen. Wer von euch beiden möchte denn? Ich denke mal, Florian dreht sich schon mal ganz dezent weg, aber Dominik macht sich gerade fertig oder hast du noch ein paar Worte für uns? Okay, mach Florian, alles klar. Florian, das war doch mal eine richtige Ausfahrt, ganz nach dem Geschmack der Vorstellung in den kühnsten Träumen, oder?
Ja, entsprach unseren Vorstellungen. Also wir haben bei den Tests schon gemerkt, dass wir gar nicht so schlecht sind mit dem Auto und das Auto liegt uns beiden auch sehr und ja, war nach den Erwartungen.
Jetzt ist das freie Training ja schon richtig gut gelaufen, da hat man gesehen, die Tests werden bestätigt, weil Tests ist immer so die eine Geschichte, aber wenn es dann ans Veranstaltungswochenende geht, ist es halt wieder eine ganz andere Nummer. Aber ihr habt es bestätigen können. Was ist euch denn eigentlich so entgegengekommen? Ist es vielleicht auch sogar der neue Reifen, den wir jetzt hier fahren, der Pirelli-Reifen, oder habt ihr da eine andere Erklärung für?
Ja, wir sind bisher ja beide Jahre lang Porsche gefahren. Porsche ist ein relativ schwierig zu fahrendes Auto und der Nissan ist ja doch etwas einfacher zu fahren vom ganzen Fahrzeugkonzept her.
Wie sieht denn jetzt die Strategie für den Start aus? Was wird Dominik jetzt als erstes probieren? Sich weitestgehend raushalten oder vielleicht sagen, komm, ich stehe schon auf der richtigen Linie, da können wir auch noch ein paar Plätze gut machen?
Nee, wir wollen ankommen und wir wollen nicht irgendwie aggressive Aktionen machen, um irgendwie auszufahren, sondern ankommen ist hauptsächlich Ziel.
Dann halten wir euch ganz fest die Daumen dazu. Toi, toi, toi. Dominik Jöst und Florian Scholze auf dem Nissan Nismo, denen wir also da wirklich alle Daumen drücken. Sie haben es gehört, die erste Sirene, sie ist gekommen. Und das ist auch für uns das Zeichen, dass wir jetzt hier unten aus der Startaufstellung uns langsam wieder zurückziehen. Denn um 13.10 Uhr ist unser Fahrradpartner auch 13 Uhr mittlerweile schon auf Sendung. Und zum anderen wird um 13.10 Uhr dann der Parallelfunktion auch noch ein Livestream aufgeschaltet. Dann können wir uns wieder zurückmelden mit der Startaufstellung, versuchen dann natürlich so weit wie möglich in der Startaufstellung durchzugehen, Ihnen nochmal zu präsentieren, wer steht an welcher Position und wie sind vielleicht die Ausgangssituationen. Bis gleich.
Welcome to Oschersleben and the opening round of the ADAC GT Masters for the 2015 season. And a great selection of cars out on track, ready to do battle for honours in ADAC GT Masters this year. As always, a fine selection of cars represented by manufacturers like Audi and Corvette and Mercedes and Bentley and Nissan and just so many cars out there to drool over, and that's what the big crowd, as you can see here at Oschersleben, are going to do as the first race of two across the weekend. The hour-long ADAC GT Masters races gets underway, where the cars are shared by two drivers with the mandatory pit stop, which happens between 25 and 35 minutes into the race, where the drivers change and part two of the race gets underway. So looking forward to a great race here. The talk has been about the HTP Motorsport team's Bentleys, the Bentley Continental GT3, which is an awesome looking car. Well, Lucas Stoltz and Jeroen Bleekemolen put the car on pole position with a time of 1:27.563. So the number 7 Bentley Team HTP car of Lucas Stoltz and Jeroen Bleekemolen will be starting from pole position. Alongside the, it's the Porsche pairing of Christian Engelhart and Klaus Bachler in car number 36, racing for the Schütz Motorsport, the familiar Porsche 911 GT3 R. Christian Engelhart and Klaus Bachler, of course, both drivers in the Carrera Cup, and very familiar with the Porsche machines indeed. So the front row of the grid then is Bentley and Porsche. And then we see the Sebastian Asch, Luca Ludwig car on P3. But let's look at our pole-sitting Bentley right now with Lucas Stoltz and Jeroen Bleekemolen, then the Bentley team HTP, and Lucas Stoltz then got it all to do. But he gives himself a perfect advantage, doesn't he? Because he's doing it from P1 on the grid. And then alongside is the Porsche 911 GT3R of Christian Engelhart and Klaus Bachler. Then the Schütz Motorsport and the familiar yellow livery. And Christian Engelhart is a very good driver indeed. So Christian Engelhart will be hoping to convert P2 to P1 even before they get into the hotel turn, which is the first turn here at Oschersleben. Turn 1, a left-hander. Lovely bit of camera art there as we take a look at the car of Jens Klingmann and Dominic Baumann. Dominic Baumann, of course, paired for a couple of seasons with Claudia Hürtgen, but goes with Jens Klingmann in the BMW Sports Trophy team. And there, that red and black BMW looking utterly awesome as it does. The Z4 GT3 from Team Schubert. And then Sebastian Asch and Luca Ludwig in the BKK Mobil Oil Zakspeed Mercedes. I was talking to Luca Ludwig earlier today. Also talking to Klaus Ludwig as well. Luca Ludwig going to be second in the driver lineup today. First stint by Sebastian Asch then, who is in the car ready to go. A lot of talk about this car as well. The Nissan GT-R Nismo GT3 with Dominic Jost and Florian Scholze. And the car run by the MRS GT Racing, who you may recall last year in ADAC GT Masters sported the McLaren MP412C. But this Nissan has performed extremely well during qualifying and free practice as well. So high hopes indeed for the Florian Scholze Dominic Jost car in this, the first round of the ADAC GT Masters here. Races last year won by Maxi Buch and Max Gotts in Mercedes, and second race was won by the eventual champions Kelvin van der Linde and René Rast in the Prosperia Seat Racing Audi. As we see the second of the Bentleys then with Fabian Hamprecht and Clemens Schmidt, the second of the HTP Motorsports. The Bentleys qualifying in P1 and P6, so having a very successful qualifying session for those cars. And then the familiar sight of the Corvette Z06.R GT3, driven by Andreas Wirth and Daniel Keilwitz. Daniel Keilwitz, former champion, of course, for Callaway competition. And the Corvette makes a welcome return to the ADAC GT Masters. And yet another Mercedes, this time from Harry Prochik and Andreas Simonsen, the SLS car, as the cars roar into life. And we're about to get the first race in the ADAC GT Masters season for 2015 underway. We race here at Oschersleben, then we go off to the Red Bull Ring. And that's the 5th to the 7th of June, then 19th to 21st of June at Spa-Francorchamps. Then it's Lausitz Ring. with dates of 3rd to the 5th of July, 14th to the 16th of August at the Nürburgring, 28th to the 30th of August at Sachsenring. Zandvoort plays host to the ADAC GT Masters. 28th to the 30th of August, 18th to 20th of September is for Zandvoort, 28th, 30th of August is Sachsenring, and then the final, of course, 2nd to the 4th of October, as is traditionally the case at Hockenheim. So cars away then on this, the formation lap, the first race of the ADAC GT Masters for season 2015. Drivers have been champing at the bit to get on with the racing, the free practice sessions and the qualifying. Weather conditions here at the 3.696 kilometre Oschersleben circuit. Warm, bit overcast now. Not as sunny as it was first thing this morning, but here comes the grid in full for you as we ride on board. Front row then, it's Lukas Stolz and Christian Engelhart, Bentley versus Porsche. Then we see Klingmann, Asch, BMW versus Mercedes, P5 and P6. It's Dominic Jost and Fabian Hamprecht, P5 and 6. Then the next row is Andreas Wirth and Harry Prochik. Then Corvette and Mercedes once again. Claudia Hürtgen goes from P10. Ahead is Jordan Lee Pepper, the VW Sirocco Arch Cup champion. Wackerbauer and Rahal Frey next. And then it's Luke Stoll and Thomas Enger, pairing up with Oliver Gavin this weekend. Daniel Dobic and Gassner, P15 and 16. Then it's Assenheimer and Lips, P17 and 18. Weishaupt and Knoll, P19 and P20. Rounding out the grid for this, the first of the ADAC GT Masters here at Oschersleben this weekend. So formation lap underway, about to get the first race underway. Championship last year rested with Kelvin van der Linde and Rennie Rast in the Prosperia Seab Racing Audi. Kelvin van der Linde is back for this year. Sadly, his qualifying has not been brilliant. I was talking to his father earlier today. Had an electrical problem, which they hope is all sorted now, because he is teaming up with Stefan Wackerbauer and is down there P12. On the 6th row of the grid for the Seab Racing, Kelvin van der Linde and Stefan Wackerbauer. So safety car has cleared off up the road, and it's down to Lukas Stolz and Christian Engelhart to control the pace now as they head around the Spielmacher turn and head towards the timing line. And the lights you can see in the middle of your screen right now are all red at the moment. When they go green, we will be away and racing, and indeed we are, as they all head towards the turn now. And a brilliant start from Christian Engelhart. So Christian Engelhart also having a brilliant start too. In the Mercedes is Asch. Can he hold on to that and go through into P2? Indeed he can, and already is on the outside as we see one of the Cave-Styler Audis go round at the back of the picture. In fact, there's two of the Cave-Styler Audis involved in that little incident. So both of those cars are out. The Daniel Dobic, Edward Stanstrom car. Meantime, we cross back to the race that is being led now by Christian Engelhart in the Porsche. Then it's Mercedes P2, then it's Bentley P3. So a brilliant start from Christian Engelhart. And not surprisingly, safety car is being deployed straight away. And there you can see the Edward Sandstrom Daniel Dobic Audi R8, which is one of those. And we saw two of them around. So safety car out, and Christian Engelhart having got a brilliant start, and so too a brilliant start from the Zakspeed Mercedes as well, with Sebastian Asch at the wheel. Hour-long duration for these races, and as I mentioned, the pit stop window comes up between 25 and 35 minutes into the race for the driver change. And the clock continues to count whilst the safety car is out on track. Safety car will pick them up now as they head down the start-finish straight. And you can probably hear the sound in the commentary booth here of those awesome machines as they roll past our commentary position, which is to the left of the shot that you looked at just a moment ago. Well, there indeed is the safety car ready to pick up the Christian Engelhart. And let's get a replay of the start here. And Christian Engelhart dives across, and also able to take advantage of that was Asch as well in the Mercedes, as The Bentley finally managing to tuck into P3, and there we can see around went the car of Florian Stoll and Mark Basing, and there was a real Audi sandwich going on there, wasn't it? 3 cars involved in that as the tyres went clattering everywhere. And the hotel turn here, that first left-hander after the start-finish straight, is always a pinch point, and so go on board with Lucas Stoll. So you could see there just bogged down a bit at the start, and that was enough for Christian Engelhart to take advantage of that, and it was also enough for Sebastian Asch as well in the Mercedes. So Lucas Stoll's absolutely furious that you can see 2 cars ahead of him when he should have been going into that hotel turn 1 in the lead. Just for a moment, and there you can see him getting nerfed out as well, and that meant that he dropped yet another couple of places. In fact, 3 places he lost there. So Lucas Stoll's going really, really backwards now, and actually is P7 as the safety car came out, and really was being mugged then in the early stages of this race. Just see in the background the Audi of Florian Stoll and Mark Basing going round. The other car also involved in that was the number 1 Audi of Kelvin van der Linde and Stefan Wackerbauer. On board with Christian Engelhart now. This is live pictures as we're behind the safety car. Oh no, this is a replay of the start, looking back at it from the Christian Engelhart car. Beg your pardon. There, tucked in behind, is that Luca Ludwig, and driven by Sebastian Asch in the first stint SLS AMG GT3. And more pictures looking back at this packed grid, and you can see places being made and changed, and positions being jostled for into this turn 1. A little bit of a nerf there from that car, as you could see. So the incident in turn 1 is under investigation, and there you can see it just looked to be fair. Obviously the 24 Florian Stoll Mark Basing car got a tug from someone that pushed the car into the side of the Stefan Wackerbauer Kelvin van der Linde machine. You can see it a bit more there. And in turn, that meant that the Daniel Drobic and Edward Sandstrom Audi was involved in that as well. So we can call that from the replay. And there you can see how Engelhart just got the better start and was able to dive, but so too, that released the opportunity for the number 21 Mercedes of Sebastian Asch to get a flying start as well. And well, there you can see the number 1 and the number 100 cars through there. Let's go on board with Sebastian Asch now. So Engelhart gets a fine start. That releases Asch with clear space in front of him, and he was right alongside Engelhart going into that turn. Safety car's going to come in this lap. You can see that confirmation on the screen. Engelhart, as they swap positions in terms of where they were on the track, but all the time Engelhart had got it in control and had got that Porsche out front. So lights out on the safety car. We've done just on 6 minutes of this race, punctuated by the safety car, and now it's down to Christian Engelhart to lead the resumption of this race from Sebastian Asch in P2. P3 is the number 8 car of Fabian Hamprecht, which is the other Bentley, which had made a slightly different start to that of Lucas Stoll and Johan Blöcher-Molen's car. So into the hotel turn for the second real time of racing. Engelhart with 7/10 over Sebastian Asch as the rest of the cars come through now. So the Schütz Motorsport Porsche leads the way. We go on board with Jens Klingmann in car number 80 down there in P5 at the moment, chasing the car ahead. Well, no dramas then from the restart. And Jakob Noll and Lennart Marionek chasing down the number 24 car. Here comes the leader, Christian Engelhart then. All under control with the Porsche. Keeping a reasonable margin back to Asch in the Mercedes in P2. Lucas Stoltz then in the Bentley that we go on board with now, chasing down the Corvette ahead of Andreas Wirth and Daniel Kravitz. They're P6, Lucas Stoltz is P7 at the moment. Puts the power back on as they head down the start-finish straight again. You can hear those cars roar by. They sound absolutely awesome. So we look back then at the rearward shot then of the BMW as that comes through. See that in replay as the number 19 machine of Jesse Krohn and Claudia Hürtgen. Black BMW dives up the inside of the Bentley and goes through. Claudia Hürtgen at the wheel, and they're on board with Lucas Stoltz. You can see yet another place back for the Bentley Team HTP Continental GT3. Engelhart leads then and sets the fastest lap, a 1:28.718. Engelhart, Asch, Hamprecht, then it's Prochik, Klingman, Hürtgen, Stoltz, Rahal Frey, P9. And P10 is the car of Florian Scholzer and Dominic Jost, the MRS Racing Nissan. So it was 9/10 last time around. It's 9/10 again for Engelhart. The margin he's got over Asch, but those two are definitely getting away from the Hamprecht car in P3, as you can see. On board with Jens Klingman, with Prochik ahead in car number 42. Just trying to pick up on the major battles that are going on there at the moment. See Rahal Frey in the number 16 Audi is under pressure from Florian Scholz and the Dominic Jost car. The Jost Abrasives logo down the side of that number 22 machine. Rahal Frey, of course, former DTM racer, enjoying time in the ADAC GT Masters. And there on the left-hand side of the screen is the order, and also those who are up and those who are down. And at the moment, Rahal Frey is holding that P9 position from that chasing car of 22. And this in replay once again as two Audis getting together there, and it's Weishaupt and Christy Jons in the number 3 machine. So back to the live pictures through the hotel turn. And last time around, Engelhart did increase by 1/10 the margin that he has over Asch in P2. Rahal Frey still under some pressure, as we saw in that shot, and we can see them into the center of the picture right now. So Rahal Frey currently P9 and currently P10 is the number 22 car of Florian Scholzer and Dominic Jost. There, look at the damage on the side of the Stefan Wackerbauer, Kelvin van der Linde car. Running down there in P16 at the moment. Ahead of them, the Nissan. That one being driven by Mark Gassner and Florian Strauss for MRS Racing. Damage is perhaps not quite so severe as it first looked. It just looked like panel has come away. So Wackerbauer clearly quicker than Gassner. And again, Rahal Frey using all of her motor racing defense experience to hold that Nissan at bay at the moment. It's the battle for P9 that we're watching, and Thomas Enger is just beginning to creep into that battle as well in the big Camaro behind. Just keep an eye on that, because the more that those two fight, that enables Camaro to get close. See that in replay. Dominic Yost, super livery on the side of that Molitor racing car, MRS Racing. So the Audi at the moment holding firm in P9, and whatever Yost is throwing at it at the moment, it's not enough to get past. P15 it is for Gassner then. Mark Gassner in the MRS machine. Stefan Wackerbauer's panel flapping Audi behind. Well, Engelhart not able to make a huge margin up between himself and Sebastian Asch. It's remaining around the 9/10 of a second mark. You can see on the left-hand side the margin between each of the competitors out there in this, the first of the ADAC GT Masters for 2015. Enger leads from Asch and is Hamprecht. Well, that was pretty close from Dominic Yost, but just not quite enough. And Rahal Frey able to close the door on that little overtaking move and remains ahead at the moment. It's the battle for P9 that we're watching. It's perhaps the closest battle that's going on out there on track at the moment, as the cars are relatively evenly spaced out. Of course, all that will probably change when it comes to the pit window opening. It happens between 25 and 35 minutes into the race. And, well, there's a smile there, which is good to see. You can see the battle being played out. At the moment, Rahal seems to have it all under control. Dominic Yost not able to find a way past the Audi. Battle rages between the Audi and the Nissan GT-R Nismo GT3, and once again going into the hotel turn now. Can Dominic Yost, he's got his nose in front now. Rahal, I don't think is going to have the opportunity to close the door. Well, he has to take evasive action through the runoff area, but I don't really think he gained any advantage through that, so Yost does, after lap of trying, now go through. And now he is released from the clutches, perhaps, of Rahal Frey. He'll be keen to get up the road, and after Luca Stoltz in the Bentley. And you can see just how much quicker now that the car has been released from that battle. Certainly able to lap quicker. Did well to hold on to that through the gravel. Rahal had no opportunity other than to yield. I think Dominic had just got enough going into that turn. And a fair fight between them, absolutely no contact. Over the rumble strips he goes, gets a little bit airborne, but able to control it. And he's now chasing up the road. In the meantime, in the lead, Christian Engelhart, who has just pulled out another 3/10 over the Mercedes in P2. Then it is Bentley P3. Hamprecht up to P3 in the number 8 car. Fabian Hamprecht and Clemens Schmidt together in that Bentley. Bentley Continental GT3, what an awesome looking machine. Fine array of machinery in the ADAC GT Masters. We go on board with a BMW Z4 GT3 of Jens Klingmann and Dominic Baumann. Dominic Baumann, who for the last few seasons been paired up with Claudia Hürtgen, and they've been a fairly formidable pairing, it has to be said. And we'll see how he gets on with Jens Klingmann in that number 80 car. racing for the BMW Sports Trophy Team Schubert. And chasing down the number 12 Mercedes of Lennart Merinek and Jakob Kroll. So black and white flag. Sorry, I was distracted because there's a message come up on the timing screen as we see out goes Patrick Assenheimer and Diego Alesi in their Corvette, the Callaway competition Corvette, which has been so successful in ADAC GT Masters. That's out. Now, whether that's as a result of a mechanical problem or whether that's as a result of some contact which we haven't seen. And my distraction was brought about by the message on the timing screen of a dangerous maneuver by the Rahal Frey car. And one assumes it's for not allowing enough room there for Dominic Jost. As we see it in replay, well, Jost was able to navigate through the problem, it has to be said. Part of that was airborne, of course, but he held it together and held it together very well indeed. Here's our race leader. Number 2, Audi of Jordan Lee Pepper. And Nicky Tim, we just saw in the picture there, running in P13 at the moment, as we're on board with our race leader, Christian Engelhart. Klaus Bachler that takes over the second stint in driving. The Schütz Motorsport Porsche 911 got it all absolutely under control. Fantastic split screen that we're able to show you there, both on board and now as he brakes hard into that hotel turn. Just a whiff of lock-up there, wasn't there, from Christian Engelhart. Fantastic opportunity for you to see what it's like from inside the car and also how that appears on screen also. Margin up to 1.892 between the race-leading Christian Engelhart car and the P2 Sebastian Asch machine. Now, interestingly, I said once the car had been released from the battle with Rahal Frey, the car of Dominic Jost set the best, fastest lap, a 1:28.377. So Dominic Jost hard charging to be on the back of the Lucas Stoltz car number 7, the Bentley Continental GT3. So we'll see how that pans out, but we're staying with this superb split shot then of Christian Engelhart plying his trade around the circuit here at Oschersleben, around the Spielmacher turn, and then heads down to complete another lap on the start-finish straight here past our commentary position on the right-hand side of that picture. About the 100-meter board before he starts the heavy braking as we go to single screen now, but it's looking back from the rear of that car, and you can see the margin between Engelhart and Asch on screen also in graphics for you. Well, as I mentioned just a while ago, it weren't going to be long before Dominic Jost was on the back of the Lucas Stoltz car number 7. And there it is, that Nissan is right on the back of the Bentley now, having been released from the clutches of Rahal Frey. Dominic Jost having set the best and fastest lap as we see out goes Kelvin van der Linde and Stefan Wackerbauer. Well, Wackerbauer manages to get it turned around and backfiring and running again, but a torrid time they've had. And there's clearly going to be contact there, isn't there? And the contact was enough to send the Audi around. The Nissan manages to just keep it going in the right direction, but loses a place in so doing because it's out on the grass. And the damage count on the Audi is going to increase just a little bit. Damage in the race in terms of race position from the car that has, well, one half of last year's champions in it during the split races here. As we see Klaus Bachler getting ready to take over. We're about, what are we? 2 minutes and a few seconds away from the pit window opening, and Klaus Bachler readying himself. So Kelvin van der Linde, as I mentioned, then one half of the championship duo last year, which was Rennie Rast and Kelvin van der Linde. And look at Jost all over the back of that Bentley, trying to find a way past. Well, Dominic Jost is clearly quicker in that Nissan. But in fairness, was a number of laps behind Rahal Frey before he could finally find a way past, and it's being held up now undoubtedly by the Bentley, which is just not able to get past, getting a bit frustrated as well, running out wide, just kicking up a bit of dust. We go on board and look back from the Bentley at that hard charging Nissan now. There, the BMW of Claudia Hürtgen ahead of this Lucas Stoltz and Dominic Jost battle that continues to rage. Engelhart leads by 2.2 seconds now over Sebastian Asch. Then it's Hamprecht, Prochik, Klingman, then we're into Hürtgen, and then the Lucas Stoltz and Dominic Jost battle that we have been watching. A bit of camera art there as we look at drivers preparing. Gavin there, waiting the call to be in the car. 30 seconds away from the pit window opening. Go on board with the BMW Z4 GT3 just momentarily. Still Dominic Jost. 1:28.377, the fastest lap. Not able to get past the Bentley ahead. The number 7 Bentley being driven by Lucas Stoltz. Pit window opens then. Interesting to see who'll be the first to dive in now. Dominic Jost going to dive in straight away because he's being held up there and may feel that dives in early is going to be released from that. Well, Engelhart stays out. So too does Sebastian Asch and Fabian Hamprecht. So Lucas Stoltz comes in then. And a Corvette ahead as well. So right in the early stages of this pit window opening. It's the Andreas Wirth, Daniel Kalvitz Corvette that is ahead of the Bentley. So Daniel Kalvitz will be taking over driving duties in that car. And Jerome Blecker-Molen, as the engines have to be switched off, the driver change happens. So Blecker-Molen then with belts going on. Well, Wackerbauer also brings the Audi in, so Kelvin van der Linde will take over. There's you can see the P sign on the right-hand side of the graphics indicates who's come into the pit lane. And Blecker-Molen has stalled the car. Tries to roar it back into life. This is bad, bad news for the Bentley driver. Finally gets it going. That is going to cost dearly in terms of track position when he does eventually make it back out on track. So Christian Engelhart at the moment, still no sign of him diving into the pit lane. Be Klaus Bachler, who we saw prepped and ready as Jeroen Blecker-Molen does eventually get the HTP Bentley Continental GT3 back out on track. So Sebastian Asch has brought in the Mercedes. Luca Ludwig will be taking over the driving of that. And there is our race leader, Christian Engelhart. The Schütz Motorsport Porsche 911. And in he comes now. Asch choosing to go in a lap earlier than Christian Engelhart. It's to be a seamless transition between Christian Engelhart and Klaus Bachler. So into, and this is, you know, probably the first really exciting pit stop that we are going to see, because Ludwig will be back out on track. So Christian Engelhart stops the Porsche. In jumps Bachler. Engelhart has done a fine job, no question about that. Let's see the stopwatch there. I've known penalties to be issued if you shortcut the pit stop. So, okay, let's split this. So we can see Luca Ludwig out on track now in the Zakspeed Mercedes-Benz. And this is going to be crucial for track position. It is down to Klaus Bachler to get that car back out ahead of Luca Ludwig. The Porsche roars into life. Out of the pit lane it goes. Here comes Luca Ludwig right now. Just heading now around the Spielmacher turn, which is the final turn here, as down the pit lane goes Klaus Bachler. And I think this is all completely and totally under control for Schütz Motorsport. Because there, only just do you see the Mercedes into the shot then. So Bachler back out. And the pit stop worked absolutely perfectly for the Porsche boys. And Luca Ludwig, who is now driving the Mercedes-Benz, not able to take advantage. And there, Christian Engelhart watched on, and all smiles, done a great job out there in the first half of the race. He is just over halfway through the race now, as we have under 30 minutes left to run. And, well, this part of the race is down to that man, Klaus Bachler, another experienced Porsche racer. And there is the P2 driver, effectively not showing us P2 on track at the moment because of all the pits that are going on. On board with Jens Klingmann in the BMW Z4 GT3, run by the BMW Sports Trophy team Schubert. Race is effectively being led by the Bentley of Hamprecht at the moment, but Hamprecht, Klingmann, Jost, Enger not yet stopped. In comes the Bentley. We got 3.5 minutes left in the window. Number 19 BMW under pressure from the Corvette behind. So here comes the Bentley then. Absolutely fills the entry to the pit lane, doesn't it? Such a formidable looking car. And it'll be Clemens Schmidt that takes over. So we're keeping our eye on Klaus Bachler as we split the screens again. Belts going on for Clemens Schmidt. Happy, comfortable in position, door is closed. Thumbs up to the camera. There's our race leader on the left-hand side of your screen. So Klaus Bachler around the final turn. Clock continues to tick away, and out goes the Bentley. There is our race leader, effectively going through P2, and then there comes the rejoining Bentley, falling behind the Corvette. So the Dominic Yost car that was effectively on track in P2 is now in the pit lane. One and a half minutes remain in that pit window. Battle we're watching at the moment is between Daniel Kravitz and Claudia Hürtgen. It's for P8. Daniel Kravitz just dive in, see if he can find the inside line through there. Claudia Hürtgen very much got it covered. So Jens Klingmann then in the Schubert BMW Z4 GT3 got a turn left this time, indeed does so. There's only 45 seconds left on the clock for the pit stop window. So this battle that we're watching becomes the battle for P5 in also the BMW there of cut away before we picked up on that. So pit window now closes. Everyone in on time. The last of those to go in was Jens Klingmann. Driving duties will be taken over by Dominic Baumann. So, car 19 then, you can see the BMW, driven by Claudia Hürtgen, Daniel Kravitz right behind. The left-hand side of your screen, you'll note that number 19 car appears to be being driven by Jesse Krohn. That isn't the case, it is Claudia Hürtgen at the wheel. Or that's what the timing screen indicates. Right, Dominic Baumann then. The final of those to get into the pit lane is back out in the BMW Z4 GT3. Car number 22 is under investigation. That's the Jost and Florian Scholzer car. So Engelhart and Klaus Bachler, who now drives that number 36 Porsche. Something has gone awry with the timing screen up here in the commentary booth. It's showing Dominic Baumann as the top of the timing screen until the next timing line is crossed, of course, because of the that being the final car. Now, the penalty for car number 22 is for speeding in the pit lane. A drive-through penalty is being awarded to car number 22. So the P7 position for the number 22 car of Jost and Florian Scholze. Well, a drive-through penalty being issued to that car, so plays into the hands of Fabian Hamprecht and also Philipp Geipel. It's a replay of the start. On board with the Lucas Stoltz and Jerome Blecker-Molen Bentley. All heck was breaking out behind. Now the drive-through penalty, as I said, for the Jost car number 22. Set the fastest lap on lap 12, 1:28.377. So it's Klaus Bachler that leads. We're on board with Jeroen Blecker-Molen then in the Bentley. Down there in P12. Dust being kicked up from the cars ahead. One of those being the Oliver Gavin driven Camaro from Reiter Engineering, which we were on board with just moments ago as the Bentley under pressure from the Corvette behind. The Remo Lips and Sven Bart car from RWT Racing. Door is firmly closed, but now left open. And that will be enough as the, well, they are absolutely side by side. This is a real drag race between the two of them. And we go on board to watch this battle, and look at this. Right, evasive defensive action going on there as the challenge from the Sven Bart Corvette. Out onto the runoff and beyond. Blecker-Molen absolutely closed the door there. On board with Klaus Bachler. And comparing to Luca Ludwig, who is now driving the Mercedes. Sebastian Asch did the first stint. Christian Engelhart did the first stint in the race-leading Porsche. So 8.6 seconds then, the gap between Bachler and Luca Ludwig. So Bachler with it all. Ludwig to Simonsen. Looking at that margin in the tenths. So power goes on in the Mercedes. Battle between two Mercedes going on here. Further back, Hürtgen and Kyle Witz continue their little dice. Number 19 BMW and the former championship winning car with the rollers livery, the Corvette. Interestingly, all our graphics say that it's Krone that's driving. And in fairness, so too now does the timing screen. So it is Krone at the wheel of that and not Hürtgen, which was what the timing screen was telling us. 17 minutes remain in this race. Corvette being driven by Daniel Kyle-Witz, Callaway competition team, which have seen so much success with that Corvette. Down and across the timing line as Christian Engelhart once again just takes a look at the action out on track, and at the moment Klaus Bachler has got it all relatively under control. Margin is 7.8 seconds back to Luca Ludwig, who you can just see into the picture now, being chased by the Simonsen car number 42. The order for you on the left-hand side: Bachler, Ludwig, Simonsen, Baumann, it's Krone, Kyle-Witz, Clemens Schmidt, Geipel, and Niki Thiem, P9, Oliver Gavin, P10. Battle between the BMW and the Corvette continues. The battle for P5 that we're watching. Thumbs up. So let's keep an eye on the gap between Bachler and Ludwig. It's come down a bit, 7.5 now. Backmarking cars are passed by the two Mercedes, and now the Corvette lines up the BMW going into the hotel turn. BMW runs wide. Now this is where the Corvette may get advantage, just having a cleaner sweep out of that turn. Well, that was set up perfectly. And the number 66 machine of Daniel Kyle-Witz goes through and moves up another place. That was just beautifully worked, to be honest. So Daniel Kyle-Witz up into P5. So dives up the inside there. Causes Krone to have to run a bit wide, doesn't get the exit out correct, and that means that Kyle-Witz does get the exit absolutely bang on, and from that point on the overtake was always happening, and indeed did. Klaus Bachler untroubled at the front in the 911 GT3 R from Schütz Motorsport, and completes another lap as he crosses the timing line now. We've been keeping an eye on the gap back to Luca Ludwig, which, well, Bachler had increased that margin a little bit. I think it stays just about the same, 7.795, and then 7/10 behind is Simonsen behind Ludwig. So probably the chase is on potentially for Simonsen and P2. Luca Ludwig at the moment appears to have it under control, but untroubled out front at the moment is Klaus Bachler, who's leading the race. It's Klaus Bachler leading from Luca Ludwig, and then it's Simonsen P3, Klingman P4, Kyle-Witz now P5, having got past the Krone car, which is now P6. Clemens Schmidt is P7, Geipel 8, Nicky Tim, P9, Oliver Gavin, P10, rounding out the top 10. The rest of the order on the left-hand side of the screen for you now. This is the ADAC GT Masters, opening race of the season for 2015, and we're with the race leader on board right now as Klaus Bachler in the Schütz Motorsport Porsche 911 GT3 R. Christian Engelhart did a brilliant job right from the start. Got a fantastic start and managed to get past the Bentley, and has been untroubled, that car, in the lead ever since, truthfully. And with a 7.7 second margin over the P2 Mercedes of Luca Ludwig. 29 laps have been completed with 12.5 minutes remaining on the screen. 1:29.923 the last lap for Klaus Bachler. We'll just keep an eye on the time, slightly slower. 1:29.996 from Luca Ludwig as the Oliver Gavin Camaro and the Florian Strauss MRS Racing Nissan get together there. So the Camaro driven by Thomas Enger and Oliver Gavin. And well, bird's eye shot of that from on board with Jerome Blecker-Molen. And again, the Nissan up the road now. So Blecker-Molen. And two Audis behind. Audi R8, which was such a dominant car in the GT Masters last year. Two races last year, one by race one was won by the Mercedes with Maxi Book and Max Gotts, and race two was won by Kelvin van der Linde and Rennie Rast in an Audi. So it was Mercedes and Audi last year. Porsche at the moment in the lead of this race with just under 11 minutes left to run. Nissan GTR Nismo GT3 from Florian Strauss and Mark Gassner, released from the clutches, has got up the road, and Jerome Blecker-Molen like to find a way past as well. Very, very slow Audi there of Christy Jons and Andreas Weishaupt. It's Christy Jons at the wheel, and actually a technical problem with that car, which has slowed right down now. Was running in P13 and dropping like a stone down the order with some problem. Battle hasn't really hotted up in the way that I thought it would, and that's principally because of great driving by Luca Ludwig, and Simonsen has tried to do, Andreas Simonsen, to try and get on terms. It just hasn't happened yet. So car driven by Harry Prochik and Andreas Simonsen, that number 42 machine, the HP Racing SLS. Now, that's interesting, as there was showers predicted, and just seeing that sign and one or two little drops of rain are beginning to show on the comms booth window here. Now, if there's any intensity to that shower at the moment, that could really change the final 9 minutes of this race, and it looks to be on certain parts of the track coming down a lot heavier than other places. Certainly where we are, right on the start-finish straight, you can now see it, the intensity of it is beginning to increase a little bit, so this really could change things. And well, you can see the looks of concern on drivers' faces. Moment of those two Mercedes, it's only the Simonsen car with the wipers on, presumably for little bits of spray that are being kicked up from the Luca Ludwig car ahead. And this brilliant split screen shot that we can show you here of different camera viewpoints of how these guys are battling out there on track. Klaus Bachler with an 8-second advantage to the good in terms of leading this race from the last lap around. Let's see what has happened to the margin now. It's increased by a 1/10. .136.68 from Klaus Bachler last time around, a 138.12 from Luca Ludwig. Now it is just a shower at the moment, I think. Indeed so, just through the back of the comms booth here. Certainly not pouring down by any means, so Daniel Kajovitz there. The Dominic Baumann, Jens Klingmann BMW. And, well, it was a bold move, and it was a move that worked. 246.6 kilometers per hour top speed then, and you can see that certain parts, and certainly just as we see that shot, the shower does seem to increase a little bit. What have we got? 6.5 minutes left to run, and that is a disaster for one of the Bentleys. That's the Hamprak Clemens Schmidt car in the wall. So that obviously went in front end. Well, thankfully Clemens Schmidt is out and he's all okay, but you can see the damage to the front of the car. Now, we're running in the points, and also out the number 1 Audi with damage to the rear of the Kelvin van der Linde machine. You can see there, they've had a torrid time of it in race 1, the Christian Abt Racing car, and there's the wheel that is missing from the back of that Audi. So in the final stages, or the final 5 minutes of this race, 6 minutes of this race, we get a safety car. There is the Audi of Kelvin van der Linde and Steffen Wackerbauer. And thankfully, now let's see here. I reckon out onto the grass, and that spins it around. Absolutely so. And that was a big impact into the concrete for that number 8 car of Clemens Schmidt. Good to see that Clemens is okay, because the impact there was no energy absorption as Christian Abt looks on. No any energy absorption there. Because it was concrete rather than tyres. And that was the wheel off the Audi. And that was the 3 wheels on my Audi car coming to a stop. Really has been a race to forget for Kelvin van der Linde and Steffen Wackerbauer. Last year's champion, of course, and back on the Abt Racing pit perch there, and Christian Abt, who over this weekend, as we see the ADAC Formula 4 launched, will be guest at a dinner tonight, because he was the first ever ADAC Formula champion some years ago, Christian Abt. Now, it's not beyond the realms of possibility that this race now could eventually finish under the safety car. I think it's pretty likely, to be honest, with just 3 3/4 minutes left to run. Klaus Bachler there picks up behind the safety car. So Klaus Bachler, Luca Ludwig, Andreas Simonsen, then it's Daniel Kajovitz, Jens Klingmann, Jesse Krohn, Guy Pell. Perhaps they've got that Bentley away quicker than I thought they were going to. Of course, there is still the stricken Audi to be got rid of, and there it is. And Kelvin van der Linde now with his crash helmet off there. Van der Linde, such a star in the ADAC GT Masters last year, and the year previous to that, of course, in the VW Sirocco R Cup, teamed up with Rennie Rast in the GT Masters last year. And I said right at the start of the season, I felt it was going to be a formidable combination, and that proved to be the point. Completely. The experience of Rennie Rast passed on undoubtedly to Kelvin van der Linde, made the pairing a really, really successful one, to the point of course, taking the championship last year. Well, first honours in the 2015 season of the ADAC GT Masters looks set to go the way of Klaus Bachler, potentially, with Porsche and 2 Mercedes behind, with Luca Ludwig and Andreas Simonsen in the number 42 car run by HP Racing. And there we can see we have Porsche, Mercedes, and then it's Daniel Karwitz up there into P4, with Jens Klingman P5, Claudia Hertgen P6. Now, that's really interesting, because now the timing screen has gone back to what I originally thought, that it's Claudia Hertgen driving that car and not Jesse Krohn. So forgive the uncertainty there, but both the graphics and the timing screen changed during the course of the second part of this race. I was absolutely convinced it was Claudia Hertgen driving the car in the second stint, but hey, there we are. We have to take note of the messages we're given by officialdom and confirmation that the race, unfortunately, is going to be finished behind the safety car. So, assured of victory virtually is Klaus Bachler and Christian Engelhart, and there we can see it'll be very easy. I wouldn't have thought it'll be easy enough to tow that Audi across the grass like that, of course, but other than that it won't be, because there is a wheel missing at the rear end of that car. So the race then not finishing the way we expected it to, and well, the rain is not coming down any harder than it was. It has just been a bit of a shower, to be honest with you. And just a minute remaining on the clock now, as the safety car continues to take the drivers around the Oschersleben circuit. 3.696, the traditional season opener for the ADAC GT Masters, and this year the opener for the ADAC Formula 4 season as well. But it's the GT Masters which we're focusing on now, and well, going to be one more lap under the safety car, and then the race will be done. There you can see confirmation of the last lap board going out to all those competitors out there, and a smile on the face of Christian Engelhart. And why wouldn't there be a smile on the face of Christian Engelhart? He did a great start, great job through the first part of the race, and Klaus Bachler has done the same in the second half of the race, continuing the great work of Christian Engelhart. Race going to be finished behind the safety car. So confirmation of that on your screen right now. Clock has now ticked down to 0, and well, the safety car unfortunately finishes the race here at Oschersleben, the first race of the ADAC GT Masters for season 2015, and it's going to be Klaus Bachler and Christian Engelhart, Luca Ludwig and Sebastian Asch and Andreas Simonsen, Harry Prochik up there on the podium. Porsche, Mercedes. Schütz Motorsport Porsche 911 GT3 R. Best lap came from Nissan though. Dominic Yost, 1:28.377 on lap 12. So as the rain shower continues, the wind has picked up a bit as well, which has obviously brought the shower clouds in. Race 2 for the ADAC GT Masters on track tomorrow. And they're on their final lap. And the checkered flag is held out to complete the race, and Christian Engelhart salutes his teammate Klaus Bachler. The two of them having done a fantastic job, and as to be said, Christian Engelhart drove a brilliant start, and there he is celebrating with the team. So the number 36 machine without a foot wrong across the entire race. So confirmation then, it's going to be Bachler, Ludwig and Simonsen, the 1, 2, 3, and you can see Klaus Bachler inside the car, very, very happy with the result. Race 1, season 2015, goes the way of Schütz Motorsport and Klaus Bachler and Christian Engelhart. P2 then Asch and Ludwig. P3, Prochik and Simonsen, with Wirth and Keilwitz P4, Klingman Baumann P5, Hürtgen and Krohn P6, Fry and Geipel P7, Jordan Lee Pepper and Nicky Tim take P8 for the Audi. Then it's Gassner and Strauss P9, Enger and Gavin take P10, Stolz and Blecker-Molen P11, and Stoll and Baseng then taking P12. The result after 38 laps, and then the rest of the order, as you can see there, all the way through to the Weishaupt, Jons and Wackerbauer and Van der Linde and Assenheimer and Lacey retirements, and Hamprecht and Schmidt as well with the Bentley in the wall. Lips and Bart P15, Nolan Marianek 14, and Josten Scholzer just ahead. So there we have it, race 1 in the ADAC GT Masters. Here's the drivers' classification then. Bachler and Engelhart on the top of the points, with Asch and Ludwig P2 and Prochik and Simonsen P3, with Keilwitz, Wirth, Baumann and Klingman and Hürtgen and Krohn the top 6 positions in the points. And well, a lot of racing still to come from the ADAC GT Masters across the season, as we take a look now at the top 3. And in P3 it's Andreas Simonsen and Harry Prochik then in that car. P2 goes the way of Luca Ludwig and Sebastian Asch in the Mobil Oil liveried car, and then no mistake in the winner, Klaus Bachler and Christian Engelhart in the Porsche 911 GT3 R, which is congratulated straight away by Christian Engelhart, who's down there to meet his teammate into the Parc Fermé area. They did a great job. Wow. Show of strength from Christian Engelhart as well, lifting Klaus Bachler up. Klaus, former Porsche Junior, of course, and receiving some support there from Upenor. You can see on the front of the race suit there. Simonsen and Prochik then. Just see Luca Ludwig in the back of the picture. There he is. And just minutes before the race, I had a conversation with him. Be competing in the Nürburgring 24-hour race as well. Was outings in VLN also. So they're in Parc Fermé. They'll be heading up to the podium momentarily. Does take a while for that to happen, as the media all dive in to get instant interviews from the top 3. And there, Ludwig at last. Luca Ludwig gets the opportunity to get his crash helmet off, and congratulations all round. So next up for the ADAC GT Masters is race 2 tomorrow. Then we head off to the Red Bull Ring, 6th and 7th of June. Spa-Francorchamps on the 20th and 21st of June. Then it's 4th and 5th of July at the Lausitz Ring, 15th and 16th of August at the Nürburgring. So we see Nicky Thiem there and Mark Basseng. 29th, 30th of August, Sachsenring. 19th and 20th of September at Zandvoort, and traditional season closer, if you like, 3rd and 4th of October at Hockenheim. So Nicky Team and Jordan Lee Pepper finishing P8. Now, just a little bit of trivia, if you like. Last year's ADAC GT Masters, or one half of the winning combination, was Kelvin van der Linde, of course. And the previous year to that, he'd won the Sirocco R Cup Championship, and comes from South Africa. And this year, Jordan Lee Pepper, who won the VW Sirocco R Cup last year, is in the ADAC GT Masters, teamed up with Nicky Team, but racing for the team that was victorious last year in the championship, Prosperia Seab Racing. So there we are. Make of that what you will. Jordan Lee Pepper, a fine driver, and won the Sirocco R Cup with some room to spare, it has to be said. So drivers on their way towards the podium now, I believe, and we will see the podium ceremony in full here at Oschersleben before our excitement rises for race 2, which comes our way tomorrow in the ADAC GT Masters. Porsche, Mercedes, and Mercedes, the manufacturers that are going to be up on the podium for race 1. Then be the same for race 2. Doubt it. So much variety in the ADAC GT Masters, and so much good racing as well. Weather conditions, well, tomorrow was potentially a bit changeable. I think the forecast has changed somewhat, and we certainly didn't expect the shower that we got here today. But I don't think that we are predicted to have showers tomorrow. But check on the latest forecast before we come on air tomorrow, and see what the likelihood is. So final preparations being made up there on the podium. From our vantage point here, we can see the podium officials are up there, including, I think, the ADAC Sports President Herman Tomczyk, who's here, of course, this weekend. Big weekend for the ADAC Motorsport, with the launch of the Formula 4 category and the continuation of the simply superb ADAC GT Masters. First podium of which is about to be underway, and you can see everyone preparing in the ante-room, if you like, before the podium. So Engelhart and Backler looking very happy indeed. And the Schütz team looking equally happy, and of course they would. So we can't be many moments away from the podium getting underway. So the interviews being continued. It's a fine trophy room. No question about that. Fastest lap in the race was lap 12, a 1:28.377 from Dominic Jost. As there you can see from outside in the pit lane how everyone is, all the dignitaries are ready on the podium, and we're just awaiting the drivers to make their way out. And it still seems to be no hurry for that to happen. So Backler, Ludwig, Simonsen. The 1, 2, 3 in the ADAC GT Masters here at Oschersleben. Race 1. Sadly, we're not going to get to see the podium in full, but the winners go the way of Porsche, Christian Engelhart and Klaus Backler. Bye-bye until tomorrow.
Oh, hol einfach noch eine. Ganz einfach. Mach einfach nur ein paar Minuten. Die zweite? Die kriegt die erste? Nee, das Problem ist mit der ersten, da habe ich erstmal jemanden zu klären. Okay, ohne den hätten wir keine hier. Weil, weißt du, die andere, die muss ich ja meinem Papa abwägen. Ja, das ist kein Problem. Du hast sogar zwei, ne? Eine. Aber Nick hat eine. Alleine, ich habe eine. Du hast eine und ich habe eine. Joachim. Ich habe eine Joachim gegeben. Dann habe ich noch eine große Gedanke.
Unsere Laufsieger. Rennen 1 in Oschersleben 2015 von GT3 Racing Team Schütz Motorsport. Herzlichen Glückwunsch, Christian Engelhart und Klaus Backler. Unsere Rennmeisterschaften von Zakspeed. Herzlichen Glückwunsch, Sebastian Asch und Ludwig. Die Mannschaft von Audi Racing, auf die werde ich richtig freuen und das zu Recht. Harry Kotschig und Andreas Simonsen. Das erfolgreiche Chemie-Mannschaft von Bentley and Nissan, Team Schütz Motorsport und der Teamchef himself, Christian Schütz. So stehen sie hier oben und auch Christian hat seinen Platz gefunden. Zu Ehren des siegreichen Teams erklingt nun die Nationalhymne der Bundesrepublik Deutschland. Nun heißt es also langsam, die Trophäen in Angriff zu nehmen. Hermann Tomczyk, der ADAC Sportpräsident, er überreicht die Trophäen an die Laufsieger. Unser Glückwunsch, Christian Engelhart und Klaus Backler. Philipp Ritter des Swatch Group Deutschland GmbH Brandmanager Satina, er darf die Trophäen an die Zweitplatzierten überreichen. Herzlichen Glückwunsch, Sebastian Asch und Ludwig. Der Sportleiter des ADAC Sachsen-Anhalt, Dieter Junge, er überreicht die Trophäen an die Drittplatzierten. Und wir sagen herzlichen Glückwunsch, Harry Kotschig und Andreas Simonsen. So darf Philipp Ritter nochmal seines Amtes walten von der Swatch Group Deutschland GmbH, nämlich für das erfolgreiche Team. Der steht hier vorne bei mir. Achso, der macht jetzt mal Glückwunsch. Hier ist der Teamchef. Also, ihm dürfen wir die überreichen. Herzlichen Glückwunsch an GT3 Racing Team Schütz Motorsport, Christian Schütz. Meine Herren, es wird eine feuchtfröhliche Angelegenheit werden, denn wir geben jetzt eines frei, den Champagner auf. Solltet ihr jetzt euren Teamchef vermissen, der hat sich mal eben gerade verkrümmelt, der ist nämlich hinten raus. Ja, nee, der ist noch nicht weg, der hat sich nur einfach hinten verabschiedet. Also, der zum Interview muss er eh kommen, das ist ganz klar. Wer fängt an? Ich bin der einzige hier oben, das ist ja auch wunderbar. Christian, fangen wir einfach mit dir an. Ein Rennen, das scheinbar offensichtlich richtig gut von euch kontrolliert werden konnte, ohne größere Probleme. Kurzes Statement über den Verlauf des Rennens. herzlichen Glückwunsch zu diesem Laufsieg. Und werde also dann hier oben jetzt auch dezent uns zurückziehen, weil wir natürlich jetzt unseren Fernsehpartner Sport 1 gleich zu den Interviews bitten dürfen. Euch aber bitten, mit den Trophäen in den Händen dort oben jetzt Platz zu nehmen. Danach bitte alle mit den Trophäen nochmal vorne an die Barriere kommen für ein paar schöne Bilder. Und dann haben wir natürlich unseren Fernsehpartner Sport 1 als diejenigen, die dann erstmal ihre Bilder in den Kästen haben. So ist es jetzt. Denn wir haben ja auch noch unsere Gentleman-Wertung, die wir gleich hier oben aufrufen dürfen. Danke an euch, die Laufsieger dieses Durchgangs. Engelhart und Bachler auf 1, dahinter Asch Ludwig auf 2 und Rotschek Simonsen in der 3. Position. Glückwunsch, wir freuen uns auf das Rennen von morgen. Wird eine bestimmt genauso schöne Geschichte werden. Ja, man sollte nicht in der Schusslinie stehen, habe ich gerade festgestellt. Oder man ist ein Brillenträger. Je nachdem. Dann wird es jetzt funktionieren. Also, gehen wir so langsam aber sicher dann auch dazu über, dass unsere Gentlemen die nächsten sind, die es zu ehren gilt. Das Rennen, das vom Verlauf her doch ein bisschen andere Konturen plötzlich angenommen hatte, als wir es ursprünglich so ein bisschen angesehen haben. Der Langzeitführende seit Rennbeginn an musste dann plötzlich wegen Pitlane Speeding, so heißt es, danke. Ich habe manchmal auch einen Knoten im Kopf. Plötzlich zu einer Durchfahrtsstrafe rankommen und wir haben mit unserer Vermutung der 24 Sekunden Zeitverlust mal ganz kräftig daneben gelegen. Das war eine ganz andere Nummer und am Ende sind sie halt nicht mehr ganz oben. Trotzdem sehen wir sie gleich auf dem Podium. Wenn wir da jetzt mal hinschauen, dann sind gerade die letzten Aufräumarbeiten noch da. Wir können also gleich schon fast unmittelbar starten. Für Rang 3, herzlichen Glückwunsch, Klappe 9.